This is the day that the Lord has made for you and I to rejoice and be glad in it. These are the words that were said by David. And he just wanted to express that days are made by God. Some days are good, some days are not so good, but all the days, regardless, are made by God. This is the Virtuous Woman, and I'm your host, Reverend Ruth Kayo. And it's always a pleasure, like I always say, to come to your homes every Sunday evening for us to grow together. Like I've always said, when you go through life, please grow through life. Grow through the situations that come to challenge you. Grow through the situations that come to like give you a block and say you cannot move. And I want to say, when you grow through those situations, you become one of the peoples that people can use your story and be blessed by your story. And this is where we come to a place whereby we say we have allowed our pain to be our gain. My guest this evening is a wonderful lady who's been part of a lovely family. But we know that in life we have an enemy, and the enemy is the devil. He comes to steal, to kill, and to destroy. Something went on in her family that her brothers engaged in alcoholism. And through that, God laid a burden in her heart. And right now, she is doing wonders regardless of the vice and the situation that the devil had thrown against their family. Oh my God, she picked it up. And now God is using her to be a blessing, not only in her family, but even in her community. I know you want to know more. So please welcome with me into the studio this evening, Irene. Karibu sana.
Thank you, Reverend Ruth. I'm privileged to be here today. My name is Irene Wainaina. I'm a practicing counseling psychologist.
Wow.
And my main area is in addiction counseling. I'm also a recovery coach because in addiction there's a lot of coaching. I'm a mom of a 20-year-old son and a second born in my family.
Wow.
I live in Nakuru. And this is where my assignment and purpose is.
Wow. Nakuru is where your assignment is. And we are blessed to have you in Nakuru. So Irene, what kind of a family did you grow up in? What was the setting at home? Was it a Christian home?
Thank you, Rev. I've been raised in my family, we are 8 of us. And 4 boys, 4 girls, but I've lost 2 of my brothers. I've also lost my mom. And we grew in a functional family as I was growing up.
Yeah.
And as we grew up as teenagers, all of us had our different paths in life, which definitely saw us also transition in behavior.
Okay.
Because as we forge forward in the journey of life, there's always the things we acquire.
Yes.
Because we always say the environment that we find ourselves in can make us, can build us or destroy us.
You're right.
So for me, I've been a church girl, so I knew Christ when I was still in high school. And that was my pillar, has been my pillar all along.
Wonderful.
But some of my siblings are not born again, and them that are not born again have acquired some behavior, which were addictive. And the addictive behavior mainly was in addiction. They started drinking alcohol when they were quite young. Most of them. There's my late brother who began when he was in class 8.
Oh, that was quite early.
Yes. And the others began when they were in high school, which definitely did not stop because addiction is progressive.
Yes.
Alcohol abuse, drug abuse, any activity addiction is progressive, especially if there is no intervention.
You're right.
And at some point, because of the family dynamics, my mom had left to the US. So at that point when they needed that family union and just being together as a family, I think there was a lack of a role model and the issue of nurture and nature, somebody to nurture and to love on them and to support them. There was the absence of our parents for some time.
Oh, your dad also had gone?
My dad was also absent for a while. He was also absent for a while, and we found ourselves as children by ourselves.
Okay.
And at that time, we were still growing up. I found myself taking the lead of a mom because I'm the firstborn sister. I remember many times I would go to my brother's schools because maybe they've been part of a strike or they've been victimized because of a certain behavior. At age 16, I had really matured. At age 18, I was really representing them even in school meetings. Just before I transitioned back to college. And that alone, at that time, I didn't know the effects that those behaviors were having on us. Because like for me, I took a lead role in terms of being a representative from my family and trying to really put this face that all is okay.
Imagine, at a very young age.
At a very young age, mom was not present. Dad was also not present by then. And my brothers were also very bright in school, extremely bright. Like one of my brothers, my firstborn brother, was among the topmost student in Kenya, in KCP.
Wow, look at that.
And definitely the future was bright.
For
he
him.
was a star. He was in the papers at some point.
Oh my good Lord.
And very brilliant, very intelligent.
Wow.
And something with addiction, it takes the very bright, the very smart,
it is,
the very intelligent. It cuts across. It has no, it doesn't know to like divide. This is a bright one. This is not a bright one, or status. It cuts across.
Nothing. You're right.
And with the progressive behavior, he found himself actively in alcohol. When he was still in school, he was in a national school, and now when he transitioned to campus again, that is where now it progressed. And Irene, do you think it's only because your parents were absent that occasioned to your brothers becoming alcoholics? Or is it, or did they see at home? You know, there are people that you talk to and they tell you, no, I used to see my dad and mom drink at home, or I saw pombe being brought at home. So I learned it from home. Where did they pick this behavior from? All right, thank you, Rev. Something about home. My dad has never taken alcohol. He dislikes it so much. But he used to smoke at some point, but he left smoking. And he intentionally decided to stop because it wasn't adding value. So for my brothers, they did not see dad drink. They did not see mom drink. And as I had said earlier, the environment at times forms us. They form our behaviors. Behavior is learned, and it can be unlearned. So there is a place they learned that. And there's something called peer influence. And peer influence can be both positive and negative. And there's also maybe the underlying issue of the absentee parents at that time when they were growing up. That could be they felt they need to numb a pain. You know, like early childhood experiences, most of the time, the primary need of every human being is love, care, and security. And could be at that point when they were still growing, that wasn't really provided at that time. So they could get it very easily from their peers, and they felt drawn to their peers, and they felt attracted to their behaviors. And I'm sure from the behavior, they also became victims of that behavior. So that's the concept of peer influence. Then I believe also underlying issues when it comes to could be traumatic experiences that they went through of just lack of presence of a parent, just the presence and just feeling, so what, after all, I can fight through life by myself. And you see, there's a point whereby every child, like you've said, they need care, they need love, they need security. And when you go through a certain stage in life and that is not provided, and you know for sure there's a gap in your life, sometimes it manifests. The devil takes advantage and it manifests in any form that it can come in. So that could be another factor that could have affected them if they never saw anyone drinking at home. So you've said your young bro, your last born bro, died from alcohol. So how was that? How was the experience? The experience, Rev, was really, really painful because this is a boy that had a lot of potential, a boy that I saw grow, a boy that I took to school, and a boy who we were all looking up to. Such an amazing heart, and who knew where he's headed to. But at some point, he found himself also just progressing in alcoholism. He specifically abused alcoholism. There's something called polyuse. Polyuse is when you use 2 drugs. Like for example, when you use the stimulants, which are mainly Mira, Bang, Kuber, and now there is the antidepressant, which is alcohol. And polyuse is very dangerous because definitely a stimulant and an antidepressant, it produces a higher result, which definitely also has effects on your body, the physical part of your body, and the emotional and mental health. So for him, it progressed. It progressed. And as a family, we thought, how can we help him? So we took him to a rehab, a treatment facility. And he went to a treatment facility, and he came out. He was clean for 1 year. And we thought, this is it. He's made it. And we were so proud of him, and he was very proactive. He started unleashing his potential, getting engaged in business and taking care of his family. He also got married when he was very young. And he had these beautiful 2 girls. So at some point, he relapsed. Relapse is very real. I'm very passionate about relapse because that's one of the gaps when it comes to treatment. There are times we don't have an answer to it. Because at times you can do all that you can, especially in a treatment facility or in therapy or in whatever interventions you use. But at some point you're powerless over the addict, especially when it comes to making the decision or the choice. Because at the end of the day, that's a choice, an individual choice.
But you see, Jesus talked about relapse.
He did.
He did. When he said that when an unclean spirit gets out of a man, it goes and wanders. And it keeps on checking to see if the house is occupied and if the house is clean and swept and not occupied. Inaenda inaita zingine nyingi, zinakuja that's relapse. And like you're saying, that's one of the gaps and there's no answer to it. But maybe we can take a short break. Then when we come back, we could talk about relapse and how some of the things that people could do. Because for Jesus, it was put the word in. Feed yourself. Let the word of God dwell so that akikuja anapata that house is occupied with, it's not empty. Like they said, that an empty mind makes the workshop of the devil. So we will take a short break, and I believe you're being blessed by our sister Irene. I want you to call a friend, tag a friend. You could be knowing somebody who is struggling with somebody who is going through substance abuse, or somebody whose child is not okay, they are drinking, they are into addiction. This is their time for them to learn and to be encouraged by our sister Irene. We'll be right back after this. Keep tracking with us.